Perseverance is failing 19 times and succeeding the 20th. Julie Andrews. My friends, we see the markets are mixed today when it comes to stocks. The S&P is up just a little bit. NASDAQ 100 is down. Bonds are down. Gold is down. Boom. Bitcoin up 12.04%. Look at it, friends. Getting close. May have a weekly vertical crossover this week. What did that weekly vertical crossover do for us last time? Got us in somewhere around the $12,000 mark and then topped around $59,000. Not bad, not bad. Let's continue to keep an eye on that. We'll get to Bitcoin in just a minute. First, let's go to the S&P 500. Weekly is still down, just not any energy to cross over going up. We look at the high the high this week so far, 442.80. The high last week, 442.94. So the first day, it's just the first day of a 5-day candle, little green up candle, not reaching a higher high yet. We see that the price percent oscillator slowly pulling away from the red signal line, but that derivative oscillator, our leading indicator, is still gaining momentum. Look at the 2-day. Now again, this is just the first day of the latest 2-day candle. The prior candle ended on Friday. So the first day, we see that the price percent oscillator is still barely positive, 143 versus the exponential 8-period moving average red line, which we call our signal line, 1.42. So again, still heading up. Now, when it crosses over going down, that could potentially be a 2-day recross. Didn't work so well for us last time. We'll see. We want to see a lot of momentum if this thing rotates over and starts really devolving. Just down a little bit for the day, 0.07%. That derivative oscillator's just barely negative. And we look at that price percent oscillator, and of course we see that it is just barely positive. What do we see on the half day? We just see that sideways slide, ended up the day a little bit down. Just right there on that half-day trend line. That's where we are on the S&P. The bottom line is iffy all the way around. Let's go to the NASDAQ 100. NASDAQ 100, we have the weekly is the opposite of the S&P 500. The weekly is in a confirmed up move. Look at that price percent oscillator. It is flat. Derivative oscillator positive, losing momentum. The high throughout the day, 369.27. The prior high, 369.91. So not quite getting as high yet as the prior week. Moving up that weekly trend line still. We go from the weekly to the 2-day. We can see the 2-day pulling away from the red signal line. Now again, the Qs was up just a little bit, 0.18%. That's not 0.1%, that's 0.18%. We see the derivative oscillator still losing downward momentum. Price percent oscillator trying to pull away from the red signal line, not reaching a higher high, a slowdown there. When we go to the half day, you can see intraday what it did. Sideways in the morning, moving up a little bit in the afternoon. But remember, we blew out on Friday that prior trend line. Now, what do we see at the end of the day? We do see a rotation over going down. Sort of hard to really do very much with that, but we'll, at least visually, we know that it crossed over going down at the end of the day. And again, that's not much of a crossover, but it is nonetheless. It'll give us a little clue, a little cue there. Let's go back to the weekly. We'll go to 20-year bonds. They're down for the day, let me see, it's hard to read that, 0.36%. So what do we see this week starting off? Now this is important as we look at the weekly chart. We have had that weekly trend line being good to us, really weakened at the end, this last week. And look at what it's done this week. It's just blown through the weekly trend line right at the beginning. We see the price percent oscillator still positive but flat. Derivative oscillator losing upward momentum. 2-day chart. Okay, we saw that 2-day crossover going through the 2-day trend line, and we see on this 2-day chart reaching down and touching it on Monday. We'll see if this is going to continue to pull away strongly and that derivative oscillator continue to gain momentum. Remember, this is just the first day of a 2-day candle. You don't call the candle till it's finished drawing, but it is losing lots of momentum. Half day, you can see 2 days of really strong down movement blowing through the 2-day trend line on the half-day chart on Friday morning, further down Friday afternoon, down in the morning and afternoon on Monday, as things just sizzle down on bonds. And of course, that nice bond trade that we had that started with, and we have to go all the way back to, let's see, yeah, the 20th of May is when that started, somewhere around the 136 mark. It ended up peaking for us somewhere around the 152. And of course, when all that ended on Friday, somewhere around the 149, 148 mark, something like that. So it is continuing to devolve, and we'll see what that means for the market. In this market, who the hell knows? We're still in the summertime trading zone, of course, too, which is typically the crappiest time of the year to trade. Now, let's go from bonds to gold. Gold, the biggest downer for the day, 1.77, just rotating over, hammering down. We had hoped during all these weeks that gold was going to rotate over, going up for 4 weeks. It just kept trying. Last week started collapsing, and this week just rolling over. Price percent oscillator pulling away from the red signal line. Derivative oscillator gaining lots of downward momentum. We talked about you shorting gold on Friday. Did you do it? Did you get into a put trade? A practice trade always. We're an education firm. We're not a stock calling service, but I hope you practice traded a put on gold. It's probably treating you quite well. As we look at where things are on the first day of this latest 2-day candle, booming right through the Bollinger Band, heading down, derivative oscillator gaining downward momentum, price percent oscillator moving down. What about that half day? Again, 2 days of just collapsing gold prices. Beautiful if you jumped into that short trade. And if you want to know what options are all about, we have a great training for you. It's a 3-part training. Options Made Simple, the Charting Wealth Way, have received rave reviews from you guys on that. But to get it, you need to sponsor the channel here as a Patreon supporter at any of the 3 levels. Follow the link in the show notes. If you're not a subscriber, you can subscribe for free to our daily reviews, our once-a-week review and forecast. You get all the special trainings we put together on a daily basis we put out for you, and just all sorts of great stuff. So check that out. And for free, you can go ahead and subscribe at chartingwealth.com. Doesn't cost you a thing. List is never sold, never spammed. Lastly, let's go to Bitcoin. Up for the day, 12.04%. Things were just getting warm as we move into this 3rd week of green up candles. Derivative oscillators gone positive. Price percent oscillator crossing over, going up. That's beautiful. Now, that won't be confirmed until the end of the week. Sure looks nice. Look at the 2-day chart before we get to the half day. You can see where things boomed up for 4 days and then sort of sideways for 6 days and then booming up as the first day of this latest 2-day candle up 12.04%. If that were a stock, it would blow people's minds. But for Bitcoin, it doesn't do that. It just is, it's Bitcoin. Lots of volatility. It could have gone down 12%. In fact, what was that latest hammer down we saw? 17% or so. So it'll go up, down, and sideways. But that derivative oscillator gaining upward momentum, price percent oscillator spiking up, green up candle forming. What about the half day? Half day, of course, had been trundling down, crossed over in the morning, moving up, and just nice up movement on Bitcoin, hoping for that weekly vertical crossover by the end of the week. Like I said earlier, that last one was awfully good to us. We'll see if we're going to have another one. That's where we are as we end the day on Monday. Glad that you're with us. If you don't have our book, Charting Your Way to Wealth, you need it. I got an autographed copy sitting right here waiting for you. Follow the link in the show notes. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.